Okay, so quick video on my trail hunter. I'm throwing some RC all-wheel drive shocks on them, and I just thought I'd give a quick little tip on this. So you're gonna get one of those little knuckles down there. You guys know what those look like from the Enduro shocks, and you're gonna get two more. Let me get this out here. Hang on. Make it any better? Two like this. So one's gonna go here, and the longer part goes on the inside. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the little knuckle they have in there, take it out, and you put another long one in. I think these are about, one's a tiny bit longer than the other. So the longer one's gonna go in the shock, and the shorter one, goes right there, and it's gonna go facing to the inside. Okay, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take the longer of your two screws. You can see them right there. The longer one in the bottom, taller one on the top. So let me get this one on real quick. You guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so the bottom. All right, then you're gonna go through that knuckle, and that's gonna give you a tiny bit. And then that is gonna go in here on the outside. Okay, and you definitely have to take your wheels off for this. There's no way to get this bottom one in with the wheel on. Okay, try this again. So it goes in there, and then we're gonna line it up down here with the hole. And there we go. Tighten it up. And you've got enough to go into the plastic piece on the axle there. And just when you feel it tight, you're gonna wanna stop. Then for the top, obviously, like I said, the big part goes on the inside. I messed it up on two of them. I don't know what I was thinking. And where the RC all-wheel drive is, I had them wrong the other way. And it is a pain to try to get these off again. I've worked with so many Enduro shocks and it's never a problem. These were a fight. And what I'm gonna do here is, I think you can see the original shock went in the center. Right there, I'm gonna move it up one. It can go one higher, but it's gonna be straight up, and I don't want the tire, these are bigger tires than stock, so I wanna give them some room. So I'm just gonna move it up one. And then I'll quickly show you guys the difference. And these were a real pain to get the oil right as well. Like that took a long time for me. Oh, sorry, you gotta go from the top. So you wanna slide your shock up just like that. Put the screw in, and then you slide it down slightly here, and you'll get the hole. Maybe, yeah, right there. Okay, so these took, so here are the shocks here, and they're made for this. They're the RC all-wheel drive, and they don't have any details on here. I think they're 30, oh shit, don't quote me, maybe 39 millimeters. But in any event, I had a hard time getting them to the spot where I wanted them. They don't, so the shaft, normally what you do is you can push the shaft up all the way, and you wanna make sure after you have your oil in that you can push the shaft up. This shaft only goes up, I had no oil in them, so there's a bit of a gap, and I didn't want it to shoot out. I don't want them too stiff, and I put the lighter springs. There's 3 sets of springs that come with these. The black ones that are on it, which I believe are the medium, these other silver ones, which are the stiffer one, and then you're gonna find the one that's got the least amount of rungs in the spring. And that's the softest one that I could find anyway. All right. So yeah, I had to put oil in, take it out, take some more out, put it in, but in any event, here's the rear of this thing now, which gives it a nice, compared to that. Sorry about my dog. So there you go. I know we all know about oil-filled shocks, but I thought I'd just explain how these went together, because I had to look up a video myself, some pictures actually, to see which thing went where, because I didn't want to start putting these things on and taking them off, because unlike the Endura shocks, once these are on with those little rubber gaskets, these guys, right there, it is a bitch to get them off. So, okay, so give me 2 seconds to get them all on and I'll show you when I'm done. And just a reminder to you guys, I did a video saying what I was gonna do on this, and I did I got these wheel weights. These are also RC all-wheel drive. So as far as adding some weight to this guy, these are 15 grams. All right, so I've got that on the front and the back. Let me just get this tire back on. Oh, come on. Oh, it's not on all the way. Pins got me. Okay, let me get them on. I'll be right back. Pops in, and then same on the front. You're going to use your longest screw on the bottom here. I have to say, I don't know if it's this truck or it's these shocks, but I've never had so much trouble trying to get stuff lined up and back in than I have with these. And one of the things you'll find too is that on the stock shocks, the top is a Phillips screw head, and the, oh, come on, on the top, there we go. Sorry, the top is a Phillips and the bottom is a 1.5 hex. So just remember that when you're trying to put them on. And if you look here, you'll see there are a number of placements. The original shock went where that little black spacer is. The one in the back came out. I don't know if, yeah. So the spacer comes out. All right, so what I'm gonna do is, instead of putting it in the hole where it was, I'm trying to hold the flashlight with my mouth. I'm gonna put mine here, right there. Right. So same level, just one back. And that is going to be the smaller screw. And you don't have to take the body off for this, which is a good thing. Because this body, it's not the one that's got the clips on the back and it lifts up, it's got a bunch of screws. So when I first looked at it, I was thinking, okay, how do I do this? And it's quite easy. You don't even have to go anywhere near taking the body off. Let me get the screw in. Okay, so each shock I've moved just back, and you can still see how straight they are. Moving them back by one didn't do much, but just puts it on the back on the angle. Okay. All right, let me do the last one. I'll be back. All right, finishing the last one. So I'm getting this screw on the bottom on. And again, these shocks were some of the hardest I've ever worked with. you know, at the beginning of my RC career, yeah, you have trouble getting oil shocks to work right and figure out what's what and what, you know, kind of suits you. Whereas these, like, I don't know, there's not much pushback, or there's not much response, I guess I could say, to them. Because I do have the soft springs, and I wanted that for a reason, because I don't need this thing to spring back up. I just want it to have better articulation. Okay, which is fine. It comes back nice when it's up like this, right? They come back kind of nice. They make a squeaking sound, which is weird. But anyway, okay. So the wheel's back on. And I think my other video where I did the quote unquote unboxing, I showed how bouncy this thing was. Before, I didn't do it today before I took them off, but I think you know what a friction shock is like on some of these RCs. So let me get this on. Where's my, there it is. Okay. Yeah, so tuning these, and 2 sets of the springs felt exactly the same. So I went with the ones that weren't wound as tight, thinking, okay, they're going to be a little more forgiving. So what I didn't want on this was to have it down like that, go like this, and have it push right back up, right? I just want some nice droop on these things. I just don't want them to be bouncy. And it's got a nice, I like it. I like it. Okay, so there it is. So these stock guys off of there, and bouncy. These guys on there, I got the brass wheels, the brass weights underneath. That's it for me on this. I'm gonna get the spare tire back on here, which is also a pain in the ass because you got a little bolt that goes under this. So you got to use your needle nose pliers. And hopefully, oh Christ, I don't know why they wouldn't just let it go in. And of course, it's not a regular screw, it's a hex. So you gotta mess with this to try to get the, yeah, I'll play with it, and I'll show you guys this. I'm gonna probably try it on my indoor course here and put some footage at the end of this video, so hang tight. And one more thing I'd like to say, 2 things actually. I don't know why I took the rear tire off. I think I was gonna try to do something with the bed, but forget it. Or maybe I still will. But this right here has to be the shittiest excuse for a battery cover I've ever come across. To try to get this thing back on and to stay is ridiculous. So I might have to look at some other type of box that closes better, but that's what it is.